Hey there, this is Catherine. I'm going to share a few items I picked up from Kat Scrappiness. This is a new company to me. I may have ordered one time before, but it's been a really long time. But I saw these cute, I think you call them Quokka Stamps. My husband was telling me about this cute little animal that's always smiling. And so I looked it up, and these stamps popped up, and I thought they were so cute. So there's a everyday set and a Valentine's Day set. This everyday has kind of the front-facing quokka, and then all these little what's the word? Not embellishments, but seasonal items, I guess you'd say. So a jack-o'-lantern and an egg. This cute sheet of music, such great detail. And then the larger set that has a few more of the quokkas is the Valentine one. So you've got 4 different ones in there. And then these cute sentiments. You've got mail, thinking of you, I love you, 2 hashtags, love and hugs, and this sweet little flower. And then I also purchased the dies since there were quite a few small ones in there. I thought it would be faster than using my brother's scan and cut. I also picked up some sprinkles that they had. One set has the cute little notes in it, the little letters, and then there was a cute egg sprinkle that I thought I would be using. We're heading towards spring, and so I thought that would be good for this time of year that I would use them. And they've got this, you can see a little bit of a red seal on the envelope, just super, super cute. And then you can see how tiny and thin these sprinkles are. So they're great for shaker cards, which is what I'm going to make today. And then I also picked up one set of epoxy dots that were in reds and pink. I have quite a few epoxy dots, but I don't have many of one color. I'll run out of a color and wish I had more of them. So I was hoping that this would fill that need for epoxy dots. So I'm going to start by stamping a bunch of images on some Blend It, Express It cardstock, which is alcohol marker friendly. I'm going to be doing some coloring today. And so I'm going to put as many as I can fit on this half sheet of paper on my stamping platform. And then you can see there are a whole bunch of them between the 2 sets. And I'm going to stamp them several times to have several images to work with. And so I'm going to lay all these out, again, fitting as many as I can on there. I've got them inked up now, and I'm using my Gina K Amalgam ink in Obsidian, which is my go-to ink for alcohol ink markers. You can also watercolor, I believe, with these. It's a pretty amazing ink that I have come to love over time. So I'm going to stamp it 2 times, and then I'll clean those, and I'll start stamping some other ones. So you can see by the end of it, I've got quite a few sheets of these quokkas and the accessories to color. And so I'll just, sit in front of the TV or doing laundry or something. It's a great, take it in the car when I'm picking up kids. Gives me the opportunity to do some coloring. So I'm going to do a little coloring on screen. A lot of times I do it off screen, but I decided to share on screen. I'm going to use my Copics. Oftentimes I'm using my tri-blend markers, and I'm using a E group, which is going to be, I think the first one's E13, E23, E25, and E27. This is my favorite group of browns that I use for critters. And I did look this critter up because I didn't even know what he looked like, if he were gray or brown, and he is kind of a brown tone. So what I'm doing here is I'm just starting with my lightest color, the E13, and I'm going to cover my face so I can do some blending. I am not a professional blender. There are some very talented people who are great at blending, and I just I've watched some videos over time and I've learned some things about alcohol markers and sort of how to use them, but I'm a pretty casual colorer. I don't worry too much about the shading. I do try and keep kind of a roundness to my image. I think it looks good when you blend that way, but I am going to put a shadow on one side, a little bit of darkness on one side, and but anyway, I enjoy coloring. I'm not the best at it, but it is something that's fun, and then I'm going to go back and add the darkest color, that E27, and a lot of times I just, if you keep it wet and you move quickly, the colors will blend pretty well on their own. That's what they're designed to do. They evaporate quickly since it is alcohol, but if you have your paper nice and wet, they will blend together pretty well on their own. So I'm just going to work on adding a little bit more shadows, a little bit more darkness, just where I think it might be dark. But again, I really am a strong person of thinking that you don't have to have a perfect colored image. You just kind of color it how you think it would look if you were to see it in real life. So I'm going to finish up with my ears. I'm just going to go back and add the E13. And then I need to go back and fix a little bit of the coloring that I went out of the lines. These nibs on the markers, this particular set is pretty soft. I have used these for years and I really need to probably change them out. And so that Colorless Blender is the one that just helps push the color away and back into its lines so it looks a little bit cleaner. I'm going to use R27 and R29 to quickly color my heart in this envelope, sticking with the red seal that is in the little sprinkles that we're going to use in the shaker card. And I'm going to run this through my diamond press machine, which is so handy and perfect size for my desk. I do have an electric machine, a Gemini Junior that I love, but sometimes I need to be quiet or I need to take it with me to another part of the house, and the smallness of that machine allows me to transport it. I'm going to choose some paper from this pink paisley Bloom Street paper pad. I'm not sure if it's still available. I probably picked it up at my Joann's, but I'll try and find a link if there is one available. It's a really pretty paper pad. And I'm going to work on creating my frame. I'm using a red cardstock. And I've got 2 circles that I'm going to try and line up and run through to have a frame for the top of my shaker. I'm going to make it out of this. And then a little tip on the acetate, I'm going to cut that next out of the larger circle, is run it through your machine with a piece of cardstock. For years, I never could get it to cut through. And I thought, what am I doing wrong? I would just put the acetate in the die, but it really needs something else to kind of help it be like a shim and make it bite into that acetate. And when I started using that, I'm sure I saw it in a video, it cut right through. And I also cut a circle from white to be the inside of my shaker, but I noticed, you can see I'm kind of brushing it off, that my previous die cuts that I had done with a dotted die didn't clean my die cutting plates, and so it made all this indentation on my paper. So I'm just swapping that out. Just a reminder to kind of brush off your pads. You'll get cut lines, but if you have little things embedded on there, they will cut in there. So just to make that white look better, I switched it out. Okay, so now I've got these. I'm going to work on the inside of my shaker. I'm going to add some hearts and a few envelopes. I'm not really going to add too much. I thought about adding a heart to the left-hand side, but I'm going to have the Quokka on that side. He looks like he's I want him kind of hanging out on the edge, so the way that he's positioned. So I'm going to spend just a few more minutes coloring my hearts with the same R27 and R29 that I used earlier. And I'll add a little bit of shading to those. And that's going to be it for doing the inside of my shaker. I chose not to use a pattern paper And so I wanted to fill up my inside with something that ties in with the color scheme of the envelopes. So I'm just going to finish those off. Again, I'm coming back with my Colorless Blender to fix a little bit of going out of the line, and I'll let that dry. And now I'm going to move on to making the shaker part. There are different ways to make shakers. I'm sure there are probably millions of videos on how to make a shaker card. This is how I make it. That works usually for me. The way I do it is I like to glue down the frame onto the acetate and then add that to my shaker base. I find that that works pretty well. And I like to add my foam after this. I'll add this after it dries. It will take a few seconds. I'm trying not to get too much adhesive all out the side. It will stick to your acetate. You can get it off, but it's a little bit of a pain. So I'm just going to use these skinny strips that I have. I bought these from Stampin' Up! Years ago. They're very long for shaker cards, and so I usually trim them down. But they're pretty flexible in that you can get a good, you can do it like a round object like this. I'm going to make sure that edge is blocked so none of my shaker bits come out, and push that down. And then next we're going to work on filling up my shaker. I'm going to, of course, pull out some of those little notes and add a few of those. I've got some red sequins as well. I think these are from Pretty Pink Posh, possibly. I love the size of them. They're not too large. And then I have these cute little hearts that I know are from Martha Stewart. I've had those for years also. And they're perfect for shaker cards. They're such a good size. I have lots of them in different shapes and sizes. If they're still available, I'll link that as well. I'm going to add a little bit of, it's kind of like it's not cornstarch, but you can use cornstarch on your edge to keep your shaker parts from sticking with the static. And so that's what I'm using, that anti-static powder tool, I think is what they're called. So I've got this glued down. It looks pretty good. It's pretty straight. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's always the hardest part, is getting it glued down. And then I'm going to add my paper to a sky card base that is A2 size. So that's 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And it plays off that some of those hearts have a similar color. So that's why I chose that one. I'm going to make sure I've got my shaker in the right direction, and I'm going to add some adhesive to it. I'm not going to have foam on this one because it already has foam inside, and I think it would just be a little too much. So I'm just going to glue it directly to the paper and let that dry for a second, and then we will work on finishing the card. So I decided that I wanted to add some ribbon to the left-hand side. So I'm going to pull out some of the sky ribbon that I have, this grosgrain ribbon, and I'm going to tie that off and make a bow on the left-hand side up above. And once that is finished, I will trim my tails off a little bit and clean that up. This ribbon really ties like a dream, and it cuts really well, so I enjoy it very much. I previously off screen cut a kind of a banner piece. This is called Pinked. It's from Avery, Elle. This is really old, so I have no idea if it's still available, but it has several different shapes that have these pinked, I think that's how you say it. Those scissors, pinking scissors. So it makes that edge on the side. I thought that would be cute. I had already stamped this before in black and on yellow, and I just didn't like it. So I changed my mind and went to red, especially for that heart. I didn't want a black heart on this card. So I'm going to cut some foam from my foam sheet and pop that up on the bottom. I love these 6x6 foam sheets because you can cut them to any size. So they're great for things like that. And I'll back that and pop that up. And then we'll work on adding our Quokka to our shaker. So it's coming together. I just decided to glue him down. I'm not going to add foam because I've already got foam in there, and I liked the way it looked with him kind of on the shaker part. So I'm going to add him on there. I'll let him dry. But I wanted to tie in a few more of these cute letters, and I'm going to add 2 more to the shaker bit. And my glue is a little full. I just refilled it, and I think I put too much in there. So I'm starting to get a little bit too much coming out the top. So I need to get that kind of equaled out over time. Hopefully it'll quit bubbling out. That's a user error, not a product error. Just be careful when you refill your products not to overfill them. I do that with my hand soap too. It's always flowing out all over the place because I just can't stop where I need to. So anyway, I digress. But that's super cute. I love these with the little, on the outside, the sprinkles. But then I wondered if I could get 2 more on there on this little banner. And lo and behold, they do fit. And I thought those are really cute. So I wanted to add those on there. So I'm going to take another second and make sure they fit in there, and then I will add them on there with a little drop of glue. And that is going to be it for this card. I had so much fun working with these little Quokkas. I'm going to have to make some more cards with them. They're so cute. And those little accessories that one stamp set has, I love that they're seasonal, and it's just something different. I don't have a little critter like this. So he definitely caught my attention. And I'm going to finish that off by using my little pokey tool to get the note where I want it to. And so that's it. So thanks for watching. I had a lot of fun with this. I hope you enjoyed it. And maybe if you've got a set like this, you can pull it out and create, or just work on creating a shaker card. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.